Hey guys, and thank you so much for watching our video. This video is a little different, but it's a leader panel, which means that we have a couple questions that we're going to discuss. And hopefully you guys enjoy them and can learn a lot from it. I know I did over this wonderful session. This is going to be a two-part video, so this will be the first part, and the next part will come next week. So hope y'all stay tuned, and I hope y'all enjoy it because we had a lot of fun making it. So if you have any other questions, please let us know, and we'll be glad to answer those. So we love you and hope you enjoy the video.
So the first question we have for today is, how are you staying fed during this quarantine? As in, like, spiritually? Some ways that y'all are doing it. I know for me, I'm watching a lot of YouTube. Listening to podcasts and different things like that, just to try. And all those services and stuff that are online. But
Michael Todd's podcast have been playing. Yeah.
I've been reading devotions and praying and trying to read some of the Bible and watching all the services online. I know a bunch of churches I follow. I've watched a couple of different churches' videos, in our church especially, and trying to help out with stuff as much as I can.
Yeah, I do my devotions while in the mornings when Billy's eating, because that's about the only quiet time we get.
I can understand that. All right, so what are some things that you do when you go through a trial? Or
I scream a lot.
Scream? Relate to that.
Like that.
Hang on, I have to put my scream, cry. No, I'm just kidding. Like trials, like when I'm trying to make a decision, I know that as a couple we have in the past, but we try to figure out what gives us the most peace and just hang on to that.
You gotta trust your gut.
Trust your gut.
Pray for.
And that's very true, though. Because most of the time your gut will not fail you. I don't remember any time it has. But for me, I usually have to get out on my own. So I used to go to the lake, but, that was shut down. So I'll get out and drive somewhere just so I can think and pray and just be able to feel how I feel. So that's one thing that I've learned. It's okay to have feelings. We all have feelings. And you need to let yourself feel these feelings. Because if you keep it bottled up, guess what? It's not good. And I was really bad about pushing everything down because I didn't have time to deal with it. I didn't have time to think about it. I was just like, it's fine. Everything's fine. We'll deal with it later. And later never came. And then you blow up. And it makes things 10,000 times worse. So I try to make myself actually deal with it now. And however I can. But if I got to get alone. Or sometimes I need to be with somebody. Whether that's actually talking to them or just being in the same vicinity as them. I'm one of those friends that we can sit in a room and not talk at all. It'd be on our phones and it'd be perfectly fine with me. Just the fact that I have you there and I know that you're there. Type thing.
I'm a good butt buddy. You just sit on your butt and we just sit there on our butts.
Those usually turn out to be the best times. Especially me, if I'm going through something, that's what I like the most. Is just to have somebody sit there. Like, you don't have to ask me a million questions. We don't have to talk about it. It's just, I know that you're there. And it gives me the opportunity to be like, hey, I'm ready to talk about this. All right, so the next question we got is, what are 3 major problems you think that young people face today? Out of the many they do, but what's 3?
I think accessibility, like the stuff that they have available to them, the instant gratification, and the status quo.
Definitely. I know it's amazing how accessible everything is now. Like back in the day, you had to do all kinds of stuff to get to certain stuff, but now it's literally right here at your fingertips or everywhere around you. Before you had to search to get in trouble, but now you don't have to.
I think peer pressure is a big thing too. Peer pressure to do everything you shouldn't do.
I couldn't think of three because I kept coming back to fear, like peer pressure. They do things because they're afraid of what others are going to think of them. And I feel like that's their driving force sometimes for the reason that they do things is because they're afraid of something else or afraid of repercussions if they do something else, like whether it be consequences that they suffer through their relationships with their friends or their parents or whatever. Just all around fear drives a lot of their decision makings.
I can definitely see that. Fear is definitely. Because usually when you're afraid of something, your mind automatically can't think straight. And it's bad to do stuff in fear because a lot of times you make the wrong decision in that. But yeah, I can definitely see that. Especially in today's world that they live in. There's so many different things coming out of it all times. I know I never thought I would say it, but I found myself saying it a lot over my time as a youth pastor and even a youth leader, is the fact of y'all were going through so many different things that I was going through. And I'm 28 and they're already in a whole nother world that I had to deal with. Like let's think back. All we had to really worry about back in the day was drugs, bullying, and what else? It was very little thing. Peer pressure. That was like our three biggest things that we really had to, that was out there in the forefront. But nowadays you have to worry about so much more. All right, so who were some of your mentors? I'm really interested to see this one.
I have a mom group that I text, and then we created a Facebook group for just like women of all ages and all different backgrounds, like a prayer group. And we can post, like, hey guys, pray for me. I'm going through this, or, like sometimes you'll randomly see on my Facebook, like, how can my group be praying for you? That's the group. And if you want to be anonymous, you can stay anonymous. They're kind of like my mentors. Like, I'll text them because they both have kids, but they have a lot more kids than I do. So I can just text them about parenting stuff, or they're both women and like just whatever kind of mess going through. I can just text them and be like, y'all gotta pray for me, or I can text them and ask them for advice.
Billy is his mommy.
Yeah. My dad, my pastor, and my grandpa.
That sounds like some really good people. I love that. Let's see, what's one? Probably some of the biggest mentors in my life, spiritual-wise, is Brad Richardson. It's my OG. I love him. And Brian and Jody are big mentors of mine, especially starting in because they gave me all my advice, and Jody raised me up to be his successor. Is that how you say it? Successor or whatever, which I didn't even know it. We kept joking about it, and I definitely didn't think it was that serious. And then all of a sudden one day it's like, okay, this is serious. It's like, there's absolutely no way I'd have got through it if he didn't make me do different things. So I remember I used to get so frustrated because I was like having to do all these different things that I'm like, this is your job, not my job. Why do I have to do it? But then later on down the road, I'm like, see, I get it now. Because now I have to do all these things. And I have experience. But those are definitely three big mentors. That'd be the one that I would go to ask questions and help me along and all that kind of stuff. Let's see. All right, so what do you think the difference between wisdom and knowledge is? I heard somebody ask this on a video the other day. I was like, that is a very good question. Because you hear all about wisdom and knowledge, but you don't really realize, sometimes you don't realize that it's two separate things. There's a big difference between wisdom and knowledge. So what do y'all think would be the difference? Yes, ma'am, Punky.
I think wisdom is like you yourself obtaining, like learning something for yourself through trial and error, and stuff like that. But I think knowledge is learning from someone else, like someone else telling you this or whatever, and then you're like, oh, okay, so you have that knowledge. But when you learn it for yourself, that's wisdom.
Get that?
I could be completely wrong because I didn't learn it in the dictionary or nothing, but that's how
That's what I wanted. I wanted your own opinion. Because
that's how my brain did that.
do you think people can have wisdom and knowledge at the same time?
Yep.
For sure.
For me, wisdom is more clear, for lack of better words. Because knowledge, you can have all the knowledge in the world and still not be wise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can know every single thing you need to know, but not be wise about it. Wisdom to me is more of a personal adaptation of knowledge. Just because you know it's this, does that mean that you should do it? The wisdom is choosing not to do it if it's not good for you, even though it's the knowledgeable thing. Or however, I don't know exactly how to say what I'm trying to say, but hopefully y'all get it. Anybody else got any tips on wisdom and knowledge?
Like you summed it up.
I know you did a good job. I feel like you just pulled that right off the dictionary.
I feel like if someone were to look those words up, they'd be like, Punky, you have neither knowledge nor wisdom. You just have an opinion.
Right, I would proceed to punch them in the face. All right, so let's go to a fun question. Let's see. So, what is the best and the worst thing that has happened to you during this quarantine? I'm very interested to hear. What's some of the best things that have happened during this quarantine?
Jessica had to go to work, so Punky didn't have to listen to me complain about my job. For like 3 weeks. We were doing good, and then now we're back.
So that's the bad thing, I'm assuming?
Yeah, it's not great. Not having fun.
I think that's Jessica's best and worst. Is she didn't have to go to work is the best thing that happened to her, but also the worst thing that happened to her is she didn't go to work.
True.
I'm just saying, like, being by yourself for 8 hours in a store is just not fun. Like, you don't get to see people, you don't get to talk to people. I can't go aggravate Joe because he's not there all the time. Like, there's nobody around. We have meetings, but those are also boring.
The best thing that happened over quarantine is Tyler's been home, so I'm like, I got somebody. Be like, hey, can you go change that diaper? And like Bentley,
Worst thing.
and so Bentley gets to like see his dad more, and I get to see Bentley's dad more.
Y'all ain't ready to kill each other yet?
Yeah.
Let me tell you, my dad stayed home for a week. He had a week vacation he planned before the quarantine, but he still decided to take it. And it's a good thing that I don't believe in divorce because it was bad. She was like, it's getting on my nerves. I was like, oh, future.
I will say, like, it's a great thing that Tyler's been able to been able to be home. But I guess the worst thing is we can't go anywhere. So, like, when luckily, we got, like, stuff like dishes and laundry to do, or we would just sit and watch movies all day and play video games all day. And I eat Oreos all day. About 4 o'clock hits, and I grab some Oreos every day.
The Oreo diet. It's fine.
It's fine. I'm fine. 6 to 8 in one sitting. I'm fine. We're good.
Love it. For me, the best is probably having time to think and process. Because not having to go all the time. Because before I go to work every day, come to church every day, still have to have a social life. Don't really get a break. We have Sundays off, but I'm here for Sunday from usually 8:30, 9 in the morning till 8:30, 9, 10 o'clock at night. So I didn't really get time to rest and think and focus. So I told myself, I took a whole entire week of quarantine, and I was like, I'm doing stuff for me. I'm not really going to work. I'm not really going to do this. I want to be able to focus on me for once. So that was my best part. The worst part is not being able to do anything. Like, yeah, you can go out with your friends and drive in the car and stuff, but not being able to go anywhere drives me crazy.
Yeah.
The fact that I just can't. It's not the fact that it's not there, because before, it'd be fine. But it's the fact that you tell me I cannot go.
Want the option.
Exactly.
Joe,
Or-
we drove to Georgia.
Huh?
We drove to Georgia. You had a good time. You're
I
fine.
know, but the thing is, you could drive to Georgia, but you can't get out of your car. You have to go through drive-thrus. You can't see anything. I was this close to Atlanta, literally. I've probably actually seen Atlanta. I saw the tall buildings. Could you go to Atlanta? No. Would I go to Atlanta? No. But I was that close, and I couldn't go to Atlanta. I about did, though, but they had too many cases up there. I was like, I'm not trying to catch cases up.
Yeah, like everything is closed. It's not even like just stores. It was like parks and everything is closed. So it's like,
And the fact of not knowing what was okay and what was not okay.
I'll tell you right now, the worst thing by far that bypasses not being like having to go to work and everything else is not being able to go to Mexican.
Yes.
oh, she said it. I knew it. I knew that's what you was gonna say.
And Brent have not been to Mexican in like months.
The best
Wait.
part of the quarantine for me is that I got to eat more. But the worst part of quarantine is
We can eat Mexican.
I got a little more of this going on.
We still get Tyler at least still gets Mexican every Friday, but you don't get to go in and sit down. And that's part of the experience, is the ambiance. Mexican don't it's the same thing at your kitchen table.
I haven't had Mexican since the quarantine.
Me either.
I had
No,
Taco Bell, but that does not count.
No.
De Mayo. We should be having Mexican together, and guess what? We can't.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
We're not having a good time.
Straight up.
If you could know one thing about your future, what would it be?
No idea.
do I ever lose weight?
Do we ever get Mexican again and win?
I would like to know when we're going to be able to buy our own house.
Same.
I'm ready for that.
We got to find one.
We're going to have a lot of parties at your house.
They're getting a pool. I've already.
Yeah.
Got a pool.
Even if I have to dig it, we're going to have a giant pool.
We're just gonna have a big hole with a tarp in our backyard.
You know what?
Actually, get a pool really is only, I think when we looked, because we looked to get a new pool, and I think a brand new, like above ground pool is only $1,500, which I know that sounds like a lot because it's literally $1,000. But when you think of a pool, I'm thinking of like $3,000-$4,000.
Mhm.
But $1,500, I was like, shoot, that's easy.
Bentley has him a little blow up pool, and we got in it today, and he was living his.
We got like 15 up here. In the
Right. I got one. I'm
We
good.
have floaties, we have rainbows. We were so ready for summer, y'all.
I literally could not think of anything. Well, when Tyler said, "When are we going to get a move?" I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'd like to know that," but I don't know, because even that, like, I know it's going to happen, but I feel like if you know something's going to happen, then all you're doing is like
The anticipation of it all.
the anticipation of it, and you're not like, you can't live in the moment of anything else, because you know, like, oh, on June 5th, we're going to buy a house. Hurry up, June 5th. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. And so then you miss everything else that happens before that.
That's true. I didn't think about that.
What's that look
I
for?
feel like if someone told me on June 5th I was going to weigh 150 pounds, I would be like, you better get here June 5th. For
Fred's
real.
gonna be like, I'm just gonna sleep until then. Wake me up.
Wake me up when the weight's gone.
Like, how did this weight come
Wake
off?
me up when it's all over.
Did somebody finally invent the magic pill that takes care of
I had
all?
a friend who broke her jaw, and so her jaw was wired shut, and she lost weight that way.
You would break your jaw?
Punch me.
Brent, next time I see you, I'll just, for you, my friend, I'll roundhouse kick you in the face. I'll do that for you. Just
I got to office tonight.
All right, so we'll get back to seriouser word questions. So, how do you study the word?
Can I start with that?
If you say I don't, I'm gonna be so bad. Stop.
It's word.
Why did you lick it though?
I mean, SpongeBob did. You got to be the word, taste the word, date the word. I mean, you got to do all that. The marble, excuse me.
Yeah.
From Porch?
I use the Bible app, and I pick the little devotions that you do, daily devotion things, and you'll have like a little like speech or whatever by the author, and then the verses that you read, and then some of them will have questions. And those you can do in groups. Like I used to have a group, and we would start a devotion together, and then you could all like, it would have a question like, what did this mean to you specifically? And then everybody could comment, and you could read other people's comments and see how like these two verses from the Bible meant so many different things to so many different people.
I know I did that with a couple of youth one time. And it was made. First of all, I was aggravated because sometimes I would read the devotion and I would get absolutely nothing out of it. It was like a paragraph like this big and it really had no meaning to it. And I'm thinking like, what the heck? But you have to write something. It doesn't give you the option not to write anything. And I was like, I have to look smart because it's a youth. So I had to make up something. But I loved it too because I would get something completely different pretty much 9 out of 10 times. I was like, wow. For me, that's something I struggle with is what exactly to study or how exactly to go about, like where in the Bible do you study? I can't just be sitting down like, okay, we're going to read the book of Matthew today or like key thing. And then usually what I do is I'll think, and I'm like, okay, what am I going to read? And I come up with a book, a chapter and a verse. Like number thing, and it's just the most random thing, and then I'll go and find it. 9 out of 10 times, it's usually right on to what I need to be reading, but sometimes it's something in the middle of nowhere. But then if it's in the middle of nowhere, I go back and read and like, okay, this makes sense. And then sometimes there's some things in the Bible that I'm just like, okay, I don't understand this. I don't get this at all. I try to stay out of the Old Testament. I read in it, but that one's hard for me because it's like I know what I believe, but you're starting to read some stuff that's some very serious stuff, like God killing all these people, and I was like, so I remember one way I was going to try to actually get the word was I was going to read the story Bible because it just puts it in like a book form. So I was going to read it start to finish, and then I was going to go back and actually look in the actual biblical part of it, and it took me the longest time just to get through a couple of chapters. But I did like it better because it summed it up. I know with Moses was the funniest thing because it was literally back and forth. The way they summed it up was it was like God says, I'm going to kill him. And Moses is like, no, don't do that. Let me talk to him. He's like, all right. And then he goes back. They do it again. God's like, I'm going to kill him. And Moses is like, no, let me talk to him again. They do it like 15,000 times. And then eventually they figure out that, okay, maybe we need to stop. There's so many different things. And I know one thing that I just learned because Brad put a video out and he's talking about how he takes verses and he actually dissects them. So you might not read a whole entire chapter, but if you can get that one verse and dissect it to where you truly understand it. So like the first part and break it down, be like, okay, what does this mean? What does this mean? Like those key verses, and that way you can memorize them too to bring them out. So that's what I've been trying to do now, is actually picking a verse and picking it apart and how I can relate it to myself in my life. There's so many different ways that you can study.
I have the Bible study on my iPad. And it has questions.
I lost mine.
I got to.
I wish you find it.
You send that. That's one thing. There's so many ways to study the Bible. It's just doing it. That's my biggest issue. Is actually getting the motivation to do it. Because you have everything in the world but that. Which shouldn't be. I feel like it shouldn't be an issue, but it really is. You can find a million other things to do besides read. I hate reading in general. I despise it. But once I'm into a book, half the time I can't put it down. Now you give me an audiobook and I'm set. That's how I read most of my books. That's how I read Harry Potter. Because all my friends were reading it. So I was like, let me get the audiobook. Because I'm a visual person. So I could actually picture it better when somebody's reading it to me. So I got to find a Bible online that I can listen to. Was there any other ways that y'all study?
Somebody needs to get Morgan Freeman reading the Bible. I'll listen to that.
That would be wonderful.
I'm not a big fan of audiobooks, but I would listen to that.
Audiobooks is about all I can do. I can't handle laying and start sitting somewhere just reading because I'll sit up on it. I mean, the quickest way to get to sleep at night is start reading. 2 sentences in, you dead.
I've been trying to read that book, Holy Hustle, forever, and I cannot.
I just can't. I can't. So I have to listen to my Bible.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. I know I enjoyed making it because I learned a lot from it. I hope you did too. Just like I said before, is part 1. Part 2 will be coming next week, so I hope y'all tune in for that. It's my favorite, personally. If you have any more questions, like I said before, please let us know. We'll answer in a video or in person or somehow. We'll somehow get your questions answered. We love you guys so much. Stay positive during this whole time, and we can't wait to see you again. And we love you so, so much, and know that we are here for you 1,000%. We're a call, text, FaceTime, Snapchat, anything. We're right here. So please don't be afraid to contact us, and we love you. All right.